Okay, this is just a quick video on minimalism, how to save money and be healthy. Just a couple things I've noticed that I do differently than, for example, my wife and a lot of my friends. First one is, this is a new one. I saw this video about not needing shampoo, and so I stopped using shampoo 3 weeks ago. I don't notice any difference. Now, of course, my wife will say, well, it's because I'm bald and my hair on the side is short. Yeah, fine, but you know what? There's estrogenic chemicals. I use newborn baby shampoo, and I specifically chose newborn baby because it would have the least amount of chemicals because they got to test it on a newborn baby, make sure the kid survives. So it should have the fewest chemicals. And even the newborn baby shampoo has got tons of chemicals in it and some estrogenic chemicals in it. So I'm quite happy to not use it anymore. I don't notice any difference in my appearance. Okay, the second thing is no deodorant. You know, deodorant is got aluminums in it, which are potentially neurotoxic, increasing your risk of Alzheimer's disease. It's also called a metalloestrogen, increasing your risk, it's thought, of breast cancer. Plus, there's going to be estrogenic preservatives in there, like the power-benzoic acids, for example. It's thought that deodorant in the armpits is the reason why the upper outer quadrant breast cancers have increased from about 30%, let's say in the 1920s, to in the ballpark of about 60% currently, because the lymphatics are shared between the breast and the armpit. So you don't need to be putting deodorant in there. When you say hello to somebody, you say, hey, how you doing? You don't stick your nose in their armpit and sniff them, okay? And, you know, I've never seen a guy in my whole life say that he, didn't want to go out with a girl because of her, body odor from her armpits. I never heard that. Okay, next thing is cologne. You don't need cologne. Natural testosterone pheromones are good enough. All the colognes got estrogenic chemicals in them. Sunscreen, I don't use any sunscreen. I have a whole separate lecture on sunscreens. If you have to use them, like some people work outside a lot, then I like zinc oxide with no nanoparticles is the best one. But I got a whole separate video on that if you're interested. No moisturizers. I don't want to be rubbing anything on myself. I got zero cosmetic products in my bathroom. Just for comparison, my wife's bathroom, I counted them one day. She's got like over 50 cosmetic products in there. She was a cosmetologist before she became a doctor. And what I think is funny is I'm aging better than her. You can put every wrinkle cream on. She says I got wrinkles. You can put every wrinkle cream on you want. But the best thing to help a person age well is, low fat, low sodium, vegan diet, whole food, plant-based. Get some exercise. And maintain a positive outlook as best you can. All right, what else? No dishwasher detergent. The dishwasher detergents, they're typically some type of estrogen, non-oxidol 9 or something. They're going to be a good book about all this is Anthony J, PhD, his Estrogeneration book. There's a whole bunch of books on estrogen chemicals, but you can go to his video site, Dr. Anthony J. He's kind of a young guy. I would guess he's less than 45, so I think he's biochemist PhD, so I think he's brilliant on his knowledge of estrogenic chemistry. When it comes to food, I think he's kind of an idiot. He's still in that low-carb paleo young guy phase thinking, testosterone and meat is going to help you, but he'll get over that. He's a good guy. He's smart, but he knows a lot about estrogen. And he's got a good way to explain stuff. All right, so his videos are worthwhile. But anyways, and his book is good too. But anyways, what else? No laundry detergent. You don't need laundry detergent. I know this Korean doctor lady, and she told me that they don't use any laundry detergent. They just boil their clothing to clean it, so to speak. I just put mine extra long, extra hot. Comes out fine. All the typical laundry detergent, you got the detergent itself is estrogenic, and then it's in a BPA container typically with phthalate plastic conditioner. So there's 3 estrogens that get into if you're using liquid laundry detergent. And then a lot of times the clothing softeners that are put in the dryer, those are also estrogenic, and they're preservatives and whatnot, and they're chemicals. So you avoid all this stuff, you save money, and you avoid estrogen exposure, which increases your risk of breast cancer, prostate cancer, and a woman endometrial cancer as well. Let's see, no toothpaste. You don't need toothpaste. I haven't used toothpaste in years. And the reason was, the more I look closely and study the chemicals in toothpaste, they're toxic. There's estrogenic chemicals routinely in toothpaste, carcinogenic chemicals routinely in toothpaste, neurotoxic chemicals in toothpaste, and atherogenic chemicals in toothpaste. You can't win with toothpaste. I looked at everything. I turned over every single container in a regular store. I went to the health food stores. I looked online. I couldn't find a single toothpaste that I thought was a wise thing to be putting into one's mouth on a daily basis. I still brush my teeth at night, but I use no toothpaste. I just brush with the brush. Why do I do it? Because you got biofilms on your teeth, sort of the slime, if you will, that bacteria can live in. So it's kind of like if you wanted to clean a room, you'd remove the spider webs because spiders live in them. You clean your teeth with a quick brush and you get the biofilm slime off of your teeth, so to speak, and it helps decrease the number of bacteria that are thought to cause cavities like Streptococcus mutans or whatnot. Let's see, what else? I always, after every meal, I rinse with water. I don't eat any sweets. I don't drink anything acidic like soda pop. I use those little interdental brushes during the day. At night, I make sure to floss because saliva production goes down at night. So I haven't been to a dentist in over 25 years. If you take good care of your teeth and you eat a healthy diet, you don't need to go to your dentist. Acidic foods like soda pop and orange juice cause cavities, and sweets cause cavities. So, and refined flours, like white bread, for example, and other refined flour products, other sweets, all those things tend to cause cavities. But if you don't eat all that stuff, and you shouldn't be if you are optimizing your diet, and then you just floss your teeth and do that, you shouldn't have any problems with cavities. Most people would not. No shaving cream. It's a waste of money. I use the clearest, fewest chemical soap you can buy, and I use that to shave too. It works fine. You don't need shaving cream. And starch for diet, you should be eating a primarily starch-based, plant-based diet. Starches are cheap. Fruits are expensive. Yeah, I do like fruits, but you're going to have to pay a little more money for them. But you should be getting the majority of your calories from a starch, and that's cheap. For most persons, that's the way to go. So that's an inexpensive way to feed oneself. The other thing is, if you eat this way, and I try to get a lot of exercise, just walking up and down stairs or making myself get a little more exercise, wherever you are, go to the far bathroom, stand as much as you can. Just walk around, take study breaks, and do some physical activity. I'll sometimes lift a pillow up and down or something when I'm walking, just to get the lymphatic flow going. The point being is, when you live this way, you're going to be healthy most likely. And then when you're healthy, you don't need to be taking medications either. For example, my total cholesterol is 93. I don't need to take any statins. My triglycerides are 85. Everything tends to work. No high blood pressure. You avoid atherosclerosis. So you're not going to get coronary arteries typically, a person who eats this way. You're not going to have problems with the Johnson. So you save money on medications. That's a good thing. You don't have to be bothered with those types of problems. And as far as like blood labs, I only checked, and I rarely check my blood labs. I mean, once I know what it is, unless there's a reason for something to change, I won't recheck it unless I have to. So I seldom need to worry about any of this stuff. I'll check my cholesterol once every couple of years, just make sure it's what I expect it to be, and it is. I did check my ferritin because I was a little curious about iron metabolism. I'll check a B level once every couple of years, B12 level once every couple of years. I checked a CBC before I was going to consider donating blood. I donated blood, last year. I checked a Chem 7 once just to make sure I knew where my renal function and everything else. That everything is good. So then I just forget about it for years. I don't check PSA. I don't want to know my PSA. If you have a low risk, as I do, a very, very low risk of having a prostate cancer problem, then it is smarter not to check it. Do not go checking labs when you don't want to know the answer or when your risk is so low. The reason I say that is, if you have a low pretest probability, then any type of lab or screening test is much more likely to find a false positive. And you don't want false positives. Those can entail major workups that can be unpleasant, painful, and expensive. So the smart move is keep your pretest probability low and then forget about it. Don't do anything. So anyways, these are just some ways to be a bit of a minimalist, and you save time, you save money, and I found these things helpful. Hopefully they'll be helpful to you.